In a world that never stops speaking, silence becomes the loudest voice. Welcome to Echo the Legends, where stillness reveals the truth. 1. Clarity over chaos. The hidden power of silence. In today's fast-paced world, silence feels almost unnatural. We wake up to notifications, scroll through endless content, attend back-to-back meetings, and constantly fill the quiet with music, podcasts, or conversations. It's no wonder we often feel overwhelmed, anxious, or simply off. But here's the thing most people overlook. Silence isn't empty. It's a powerful tool for gaining clarity in the middle of chaos. When you allow yourself even a few moments of stillness, something incredible happens. Your brain starts to sort through the noise. All the distractions, worries, and background chatter begin to settle, like dust in a snow globe. And in that settling, your real thoughts start to surface, the ones that matter, the ones that are usually drowned out by the external world. Stillness gives your mind the breathing room it needs to organize what's been cluttering your head. That decision you've been putting off, that emotion you couldn't quite name, those random thoughts keeping you up at night, in silence they start to make sense. You begin to see what's important, what's not, and what needs your attention the most. And clarity isn't just about thinking more clearly, it's about feeling more in control. When you create space to be still, you're not just reacting to life, you're responding with intention. You're choosing your thoughts instead of letting them run wild. That's a game changer. Many high performers and leaders build moments of silence into their day for exactly this reason. They know that without clarity, productivity suffers, relationships get messy, goals lose direction. Silence isn't laziness, it's preparation. It's where ideas are born, strategies are shaped, and inner peace is protected. You don't need hours of meditation or a retreat in the mountains to experience this. It can be as simple as turning off your phone for 10 minutes and just sitting with your thoughts. No distractions, no background noise, just you, your mind, and the space to think freely. At first it might feel uncomfortable. That's okay, we're not used to sitting in silence anymore. But give it time, and you'll start to crave those moments. Because once you experience the clarity it brings, you'll realize how powerful it really is. So the next time life feels overwhelming, try this. Pause, breathe, and be still. Let the chaos fade into the background. Let silence do its work. Because in that quiet, you'll find more answers than you ever thought possible. 2. Reconnection with self, finding who you truly are in stillness. We live in a world that constantly pulls us in every direction. Work deadlines, social media, responsibilities, expectations, and more. It's easy to get caught up in the flow and lose sight of ourselves in the process. Somewhere along the way we stop asking, what do I really want? Who am I becoming? That's where stillness comes in. In moments of silence we create space to reconnect with who we truly are beneath all the noise. When you're still, there's no one else to perform for. No deadlines pressing in and no outside voices telling you what you should or shouldn't be. You're left alone with your thoughts, and at first that can feel uncomfortable. But that discomfort is a sign. It means you're stepping closer to the real you. Reconnection with self isn't about overthinking or analyzing every moment. It's about simply being with your thoughts, your breath, your body, and listening. Listening to the quiet voice inside that's often drowned out by the world's expectations. That voice knows your values. It remembers your passions. It understands your dreams, even the ones you've forgotten or pushed aside. In silence you begin to notice patterns, what excites you, what drains you, and what gives your life real meaning. You start recognizing which parts of your daily life align with your core beliefs, and which ones don't. This kind of self-awareness is powerful. It's what leads to real change, lasting happiness, and a deeper sense of purpose. You also begin to separate who you are from what you do. So many people confuse their job title, their income, or their social following with their identity. But those things are temporary. Stillness reminds you that your worth isn't defined by achievement or approval. It's defined by how connected you are to your own truth. And the beautiful part, the more time you spend in silence, the easier it gets. Reconnecting with yourself becomes less of a task and more of a natural rhythm. You'll start making choices that feel aligned. You'll stop seeking validation from the outside and start trusting your inner compass. That's what peace feels like. Not just a quiet moment, but a quiet mind that knows itself. You don't need a week-long retreat or hours of meditation. Just a few intentional moments of silence every day can help you tune back in. It might be during a morning walk while journaling at night, or just sitting quietly without distractions. These simple pauses allow you to return home to yourself. In a world that pushes us to go faster, louder, and harder, stillness is a quiet rebellion. It's where you remember your worth, your voice, your purpose. It's where you stop pretending and start being. And in that being you reconnect with peace, with purpose, and most importantly with you. 3. Enhanced creativity. Why silence sparks the best ideas. Have you ever noticed how some of your best ideas come when you're in the shower, taking a walk, or lying in bed before sleep? That's not a coincidence. It's the power of stillness at work. When the mind is quiet, creativity doesn't just show up, it flows. In a world where productivity is often measured by how busy we are, silence might seem unproductive. But ironically, it's in those quiet moments that the brain finally gets space to breathe and to create. Endless activity fills your mind with noise. It keeps you in a reactive state, focused on to-do lists, notifications, and external demands. But creativity doesn't thrive in that kind of pressure. Creativity needs room to wander, to explore, to connect the dots in unexpected ways. When you allow your mind to slow down, it begins doing deeper work. Instead of focusing on surface-level tasks, your brain starts accessing ideas stored in the subconscious, thoughts you didn't even know were there. These are often the source of your most original ideas, your wildest dreams, and those aha moments that seem to appear out of nowhere. Stillness also unlocks divergent thinking, the ability to think in multiple directions, to see new solutions, and to imagine alternatives. This is the kind of thinking that leads to innovation, whether you're an artist, an entrepreneur, a student, or anyone solving problems. Even science backs this up. Studies have shown that activities like meditation and mindfulness increase brain connectivity in areas responsible for imagination and problem solving. In other words, the more you practice being still, the more creative your brain becomes. Think about the most creative minds in history: Einstein, Steve Jobs, Maya Angelou. They all valued solitude. They all understood that genius doesn't come from constant noise and hustle. It comes from giving your mind space to listen, to feel, and to create. You don't need to sit in complete silence for hours. Sometimes, enhanced creativity can come from just taking a step back, unplugging for 15 minutes, sitting quietly with your thoughts, journaling, meditating, even going for a solo walk in nature. These little pauses help recharge your mental energy and open the creative channel. Stillness also helps eliminate fear, the kind that tells you your ideas aren't good enough. When you're quiet, you stop comparing, you stop judging, and you start listening to that inner voice that says, "What if I tried this?" That's where the magic begins. So if you're feeling stuck, blocked, or uninspired, don't push harder. Pause, breathe, be still, let your thoughts settle. Because often the ideas you're chasing are already inside you, they're just waiting for the noise to die down so they can rise to the surface. Remember, creativity isn't something you force, it's something you allow, and it begins in silence. 4. Emotional healing. Let silence be the medicine. In a world that pushes us to keep going, no matter what, we often forget to stop and feel. We suppress emotions, push past pain, and distract ourselves with work, screens, or noise. But true healing doesn't happen when we avoid our feelings. It happens when we sit with them. That's where silence comes in. In moments of stillness, we create the emotional space needed to process, understand, and eventually heal. Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's a space of awareness, a pause where you can finally check in with yourself. Instead of reacting immediately to anger, sadness, or frustration, you give those emotions room to breathe. You begin to ask, why am I feeling this way? What triggered this? What do I need right now? Most of us are so caught up in the chaos of life that we don't take time to ask those questions. And without reflection, emotions don't go away. They just stay buried. Over time, they build up as stress, anxiety, or even physical illness. But when you allow yourself a few moments of silence, your emotions begin to rise gently to the surface, and when you face them with openness, you start to understand them, and yourself, a whole lot better. This process isn't always easy. Sitting with pain or uncomfortable feelings can be hard. But it's in that space that healing begins. Silence gives you the clarity to separate your emotions from your reactions. You start to realize that you're not your anger, you're not your sadness, you're someone experiencing those feelings. And that shift is powerful. It gives you back control. Stillness also brings self-compassion. In silence, without judgment or distractions, you can finally say, it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to hurt. And it's okay to heal at my own pace. That kind of self-talk, grounded in stillness, is incredibly healing. It turns your inner world from a battlefield into a safe place. And once you've processed your emotions, you're better equipped to move forward. You respond with intention, not impulse. You express yourself more clearly. You set healthier boundaries. In short, you become more emotionally intelligent and more emotionally free. This doesn't require any special technique or ritual, just a willingness to pause. Maybe you take a few minutes in the morning to sit quietly. Maybe it's a walk without music. Maybe it's just lying in bed at night with your phone off. Whatever the method, the silence you create becomes a healing space, your own inner sanctuary. So next time you're feeling overwhelmed or emotionally heavy, don't rush to escape it. Try this instead: sit in stillness, let the emotions rise. Breathe through them. Listen to what they're trying to teach you. Because sometimes the most powerful healing doesn't come from talking, it comes from simply being quiet long enough to truly feel. 5. Strengthens intuition. Let silence turn up the volume on your inner voice. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to drown in outside opinions, information overload, and nonstop noise. Social media, the news, emails, texts, there's always something pulling at your attention. And in all that chaos, we often lose touch with one of our most powerful tools: intuition. Intuition is that deep inner knowing, the gut feeling that tells you something is right or wrong before you can explain why. It's not always logical or loud, but it's incredibly wise. The problem is, most people never slow down long enough to actually hear it. That's where silence comes in. When you allow yourself to unplug from the noise and distractions, even for a few minutes a day, you give your intuition the space it needs to speak. In stillness, your mind stops chasing the next thing. Your thoughts settle, and that quiet inner voice finally has a chance to rise to the surface. The more time you spend in silence, the better you become at recognizing what your intuition feels like. It's not always a voice. It could be a sensation in your body, a wave of emotion, or a subtle nudge in one direction. You start to notice patterns. You start to feel the truth, even when logic can't explain it. Think about all the times you've said, "Something just doesn't feel right," or "I knew I should have gone with my gut." That's intuition. And when you create space through silence, that gut feeling gets clearer and stronger. Stillness also helps you separate your intuition from fear or overthinking. A lot of the time we confuse our anxious thoughts with instinct. But here's the difference. Fear shouts, intuition whispers. Fear makes you panic. Intuition brings calm. And when you spend time in silence, you get better at telling them apart. Practices like meditation, deep breathing, solo walks, or simply sitting in a quiet room can help strengthen this connection. You start to tune in. You stop needing validation from others. You trust yourself more. And that's when real confidence begins. In a noisy world, trusting your gut is a superpower. It helps you make better decisions, whether it's about your relationships, your job, or your life path. Intuition isn't just for big moments either. It shows up in the small choices too, like knowing when to say no, when to take a break, or when to try something new. The more you listen, the louder it gets. So if you feel lost, confused, or unsure, don't rush for answers outside. Try going quiet instead. Disconnect from the noise. Create space. Be still. Your intuition is already there. It's just waiting for the silence to speak. 6. Improves focus and productivity. Silence isn't laziness. It's a power move. In a world that rewards constant busyness, silence is often misunderstood. People assume that if you're not doing something, you're wasting time. But here's the truth. Taking intentional breaks and spending time in silence is one of the smartest moves you can make for better focus and productivity. When your mind is constantly bombarded by notifications, background noise, social media, and endless to-do lists, it gets tired. You might be physically present, but mentally scattered. That's mental fatigue. And it's one of the biggest productivity killers. Practicing silence helps reset your mental system. Think of your brain like a computer. Too many open tabs slow it down. But when you shut everything down for a while, the system runs smoother. That's what silence does. It closes the tabs, clears the background noise, and reboots your mind. Simple practices like 10 minutes of quiet meditation, sitting alone without a phone, or even a silent walk in nature can sharpen your focus. In those moments, your brain isn't reacting, it's recovering. You become more present. And when you return to your work, you're not dragging yourself through it, you're locked in. Science backs this up. Studies show that silence helps reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, enhances brain function, and even boosts memory. People who take regular quiet breaks throughout the day actually get more done in less time because they're not fighting through mental fog. Silence also helps you prioritize better. When your mind is calm, it's easier to figure out what truly matters versus what's just noise. That kind of clarity lets you work smarter, not harder. You stop multitasking and start deep working, focusing fully on one task at a time, and doing it well. Here's the best part. Silence doesn't require any tools or apps. You don't need to sit cross-legged on a mountain. You can create silence wherever you are. It might be early morning before the world wakes up. It might be 5 minutes between meetings. It might be turning off your phone and just breathing. That small pause can lead to massive results. And over time, this practice becomes a habit. You'll notice yourself becoming less reactive, more intentional, and surprisingly energized. Tasks that used to take an hour now take 30 minutes. You're more present in conversations. You stop overthinking and start doing. So if you're feeling scattered, unproductive, or mentally exhausted, don't push harder. Instead, pull back. Get quiet. Create a space for your brain to breathe. You'll be amazed at how something as simple as silence can help you focus more, think clearer, and achieve more, with way less burnout. 7. Builds inner peace. Finding peace by quieting the outside world. In the fast-paced, always connected world we live in, it's easy to get caught up in the chase for external validation, constant busyness, and the noise around us. We look for peace in the next vacation, the new gadget, or the next accomplishment. But what if the peace we're searching for isn't something to be found? It's something to be uncovered within. This is where stillness comes in. When we stop chasing after the next big thing or the latest distraction, we create the space to reconnect with ourselves. The quiet, the stillness, is where we finally get to listen, not just to the world, but to our own hearts and minds. And it's in that quiet that we find the peace that was always there, waiting for us. Stillness doesn't mean you have to be completely silent or meditate for hours. It simply means creating moments where you can disconnect from the outside world. This could be a few minutes of sitting in silence, a walk in nature, or even taking a break from technology. By intentionally pulling back from the noise, you give your mind and spirit the opportunity to reset. When you practice stillness, you create the conditions for peace to arise from within. The constant chatter in your head quiets down. You start to let go of the worries, fears, and distractions that usually consume you. With fewer external pressures, you start to tune into what you truly need. You realize that peace isn't something that comes from the outside. It's a state of mind you can cultivate within yourself. One of the most profound realizations in stillness is that you don't need to chase peace. It's already within you. In those moments of quiet, you discover that the peace you've been seeking in external achievements, possessions, or approval was already lying dormant within. It's always been there, just waiting for you to slow down enough to notice. This doesn't mean that life won't have challenges or tough moments. But when you're connected to your inner peace, you approach difficulties with a sense of calm and clarity. You stop reacting impulsively and instead respond with wisdom. You're not swayed by every little thing that happens around you, because you've learned to find stability within yourself. And the more you practice stillness, the easier it becomes to access that peace at any moment. You don't need silence to find it. It becomes a part of who you are. You carry that peace within you, no matter where you go or what's going on around you. Whether it's a stressful day at work or a tough conversation with a loved one, you'll have the inner strength to stay grounded and centered. In a world that's always asking for more noise, more speed, more stress, stillness is a revolutionary act. It's a return to the truth that peace isn't out there. It's in you. You just have to stop running long enough to notice. Now that you've discovered your inner peace, make it a part of your life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts with us. Embrace those quiet moments and find your peace. Thanks for watching.